This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening and welcome to the September 26, 2023 meeting of the North Haven Board of Police Commissioners. My name is Larry Lazaroff, Chairman. To my left is Robin Wilson, our Vice Chairman. To my right is Mark Calafiore, our Secretary. Commissioner Alden Mead, and Commissioner Hannon is absent tonight. I'd like to ask for the approval of the minutes of the July 25th, 2023 meeting, both regular and executive sessions, please.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Beautiful. Correspondences?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have just one piece of correspondence today, and this is from the Thomas Mealy family, whose father, Thomas Mealy, just passed away. Apparently he was a longtime police officer here. He retired quite a few years ago. But the note says in part, this is from Diane Shaw, Ron Mealy, and Stephen Mealy, his children. And the note says, our father would have been so honored to see how respectful and professional his funeral was. Guided by the same police family he dedicated so many years to. We are so thankful. So kind words from the Mealy family, and we're sorry for your loss. Thank you. And that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I knew Tom Mealy very well, and he was a wonderful man, a tremendous police officer, very, very dedicated to his community, so may he rest in peace, and condolences to his family. The Chairman's report, a few items. I'd like to ask first for a moment of silence to pay respects for our North Haven Fire Lieutenant Anthony DeSimone, who passed away in the line of duty, as well as Hartford Detective Robert Garden, who also passed away in the line of duty. Thank you. I'd also like to congratulate Sergeant Jeff Mills, and I know the Chief will get into that in his report. He'll be retiring after almost 32 years on the job. So thank you for your service to the community of North Haven. And I'd like to congratulate the entire Detective Bureau for some arrests that were made, and I'm sure the Chief will get into that as well during his report. Fine job. I believe that Detective Capazzo is one of the lead investigators on that. I'd like to address, I've had some people contacting me about, as Robin mentioned last month or 2 months ago, about the traffic light down in Universal. I'm sure the Chief will talk about that too. Parts are on back order for the repair of this light. I know people are very concerned about that, but we're on it. We're just waiting for the repair to occur. A reminder, please, to people driving that the school's in session, obviously, and leaves will be coming down shortly, so please be observant of how you're driving, as you should at all times. And Halloween is approaching as well. And the last reminder that we remind everybody every month, please lock your cars, your homes, your sheds. Help yourself and help the community by taking a proactive stance and protect your property, and it just helps everybody along. With that being said, I'll turn it over to the Chief.
Thank you. As usual, I'll start with the budget. At the end of August, we were 13.3% expended. This is below our self-imposed spending limit at that point for the year. So we're happy about that. Moving into September, we're still under budget, but just to remind the commissioners, anybody watching, there are a few line items that are affected that are not evenly affected throughout the fiscal year. For example, some of our major maintenance packages we pay the entire year in July. So as you go through the budget packets and see the last 2 pages of your packet, some of the lines are showing 40 or 50% expended. That's not because we're anticipating going over those lines. It's because we have to pay some of the larger costs up front for the year. Also, as I mentioned 2 months ago, staffing makes a big difference in our budget as we track it. Currently, we have 53 out of the 56 positions for full-time sworn police officers filled, with the last 3 still in the police academy until January. And I'll elaborate on some details regarding staffing in an executive session. In regards to dispatch, we currently have 6 out of the 8 budgeted positions for full-time dispatchers staffed. It's been a struggle for us the past few years, hiring and keeping those trained full-time dispatchers. We have 1 that's starting this week, and that's going to be a few months of training. We have another individual that we just hired, so the onboarding for that dispatcher to complete the 8th spot will take maybe a month, maybe 2 months to get that person on board. and they'll start training at that point. Moving on to the traffic report, we continue to participate in the South Central Regional Traffic Enforcement Team. Sergeant D. Pascal is the team leader with them. North Haven will see that team in town later this week. And last time they were here, just to give some stats as a reminder for their efforts, we had 85 motor vehicle stops in the 8-hour span, 8 misdemeanor summons given, 38 infractions, 41 warnings, 6 vehicles were towed, and we conducted radar as well as license plate reader enforcement looking for unregistered, uninsured vehicles. We spent time on Washington Avenue, the Route 22 connector, Montague Avenue, Quinnipiac Avenue, and Universal Drive that day. And that may change up this week. I mentioned last month, speaking with the chairman, that we were waiting for light bulbs for our traffic lights in town. We had a number of bulbs that were out. All of those have come in and they've all been replaced, so we're happy about that. We have something I'd like to pass out, a diagram before I speak about it. If you don't mind passing that down, Commissioner. Of course. We received, and we talked about this 2 months ago, but the investigation is complete. It's a complaint regarding Homewood Avenue and Hartford Turnpike. So as usual, Sergeant D. Pascal took on that investigation. This time he included the town engineer who assisted him in a valuable way. So since 2010, we had 46 motor vehicle accidents at that intersection, 19 of them with injuries. That's high for an intersection like that with the traffic count. Over the years, we've made improvements. We've installed larger stop signs, increased the roadway painting, installed signs indicating that a stop sign is upcoming, but the accident count has not been reduced. So if you could take a look at that diagram, I think it's self-explanatory. That was made by the town engineer. So today, we're looking for, if you'd like to discuss it first, but eventually possible consideration for a motion to make the intersection of Hartford Turnpike and Homewood Avenue a four-way stop sign, four-way intersection with all the appropriate signage that you see in that diagram.
Well, as I've said every month, I travel that route all the time, and it is a little bit difficult, so I'm in full agreement that if anything that might help prevent any situations that we've had in the past, I'm all for it, so you would have my support.
If you want, we could put a motion tonight, right? Or,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it looks, like you said, it's self-explanatory.
Over
And,
10,
Yeah.
13 years, that's an average of every 3 months or so.
And there's significant crashes also because of Hartford Turnpike, just the normal median speed.
Yeah, so
It's a
if you
speedway.
think it's a good idea,
So we're all in favor of this?
what's there right now? Just the two stop
This
signs?
is two-way, just
Yeah.
coming from Homewood,
Okay.
the stop sign, Hartford Turnpike has no stop signs.
Okay. Alden, want to make a motion?
sure, I'll make a motion that we put the 4-way stop on Homewood Avenue and Hartford Turnpike as recommended.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, good.
And prior to, in collaboration with that sign installation, what we'll do internally is get the large electronic signs to notify people who are used to traveling down Hartford Turnpike, not expecting stop signs ahead, just to make it more obvious that there's a change to the roadway.
Excellent, thank you.
Received another complaint, a minor complaint regarding the crosswalk on Elm Street at Quail Run Village. I'll pass out a diagram to go along with this investigation as well. This is 500 Elm Street, so this is just north of Sackett Point Road. It's a 55-member community.
It's Quail Run, right?
Quail Run. There's currently a crosswalk there, however, there's no signage at all. There was never a request for signage. We have been out there and repainted the crosswalk, but residents there say there's still a problem. So the investigation, again, Sergeant Pascal went out there with the town engineer. I read the diagram in front of you. I endorse the recommendation from the town engineer as well as Sergeant Pascal to add the signage that you see.
Okay.
It's crosswalk signs, stop here for pedestrian signs, as well as an added traffic signal ahead sign.
Yeah, that's a heavily traveled road because that's the entrance to the large shopping area down the Universal Drive, and besides the 55 and older situation there, plus the schools over there. So I think it's a great recommendation that try to, again, curb the situation to maybe make it a more easy, safer transition. Anybody all in favor of that?
In favor of that,
Okay.
sure.
Want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll just make a motion that we put up signage as recommended by the chief.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, okay, good.
So still under the traffic report, North Frontage Road, which is a roadway from Montelez Avenue that goes down to Layden Construction. It parallels the highway. There's a large trucking distribution company, Bizzuto's there. We've been dealing with parking issues of tractor trailers. So they queue on that roadway before they're allowed to go into the trucking company. So when people try to get down the road, sometimes they park on both sides. It's become a serious issue for the people who work down there and people trying to access the business at the end of the road. So we're dealing with the west side of the road, which is on the highway side. The commission approved no parking signs there in the past. Because they're tractor trailers, they just kind of push them down with their trucks and rip them out. And they park on the side of the road, they leave trash there. So we'll work internally to improve that with some potential increases in either concrete slabs there or maybe some planting trees, but we're working on a plan for that side. Over the east side, on the business side, there's curbing there, there's utility poles. So we're looking for a potential consideration for a motion to put no parking signs on the east side to help us out, so that they're parking there right now, which is creating a problem. But it'll help us to be able to actually enforce the no parking that we would like there.
So looking for no parking on the east side and potential barriers on the west side.
Yeah, so you have to consider that part of it. No
Okay.
parking on the west side is already.
This is a two-phase situation we're looking at then. All right, it seems to make sense to me, and you've done the evaluation, obviously. Everybody okay with that? Rob, want to make a motion?
I will make a motion that we add the signage as per the chief's recommendation.
Okay, second? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Next, I'm not looking for a motion for this, but the deputy chief was in contact with the deputy chief from the East Haven Police Department today. I don't know if you want to elaborate on their concerns or what their plan is, that may tie into what we're looking at.
Yeah, they're considering a no-through truck signage on Charles Drive.
Okay.
It's obviously coming into North Haven, it connects with Cloudland. So if they move forward with that, they reached out to us to see what our feelings would be about having no-through trucks on Cloudland. So they're gonna be reaching out to the state, and the state's gonna look into that request.
Mhm.
So we told them after we see what the state recommends, that we would circle back with them and see if it's something that you wanted to consider.
Sure.
For us as well.
Are these mostly like the delivery trucks we're talking about, or big, big wheeler trucks? Or both?
So the law is, if the signage is there, that any trucks that don't either start from North Haven or is making a delivery or doing
Right.
work in North Haven can't use that. So you can't pass through, for example, from East Haven, go into Wallingford and use a street like that, just like Bassett Road, for
Mhm.
example.
Okay. Well, good, so you'll keep us informed, obviously,
Yeah,
as to what
they're
happens.
gonna keep us posted after the state does their survey of the area, which they're not sure how long that'll take.
Okay,
But they're gonna keep us posted, that way, if it does happen, obviously it would affect us as well, because
Mhm.
we connect with it.
so does the Tony DePasquale get involved in this as well, once it goes into traffic situation, or?
He's our point of contact for
Okay.
all those things, as you know, but it just wouldn't make sense not to work in collaboration
Right,
with them.
right.
So as the Deb said, well, if the state opines on how it should be, we'll bring that information to the commission for consideration.
Perfect, great, thank you.
Under training and professional standards, you can refer to the packets as far as the training report, but just a few things to note. South Central Regional SWAT Team participated in the Connecticut SWAT Challenge this past month. They did extremely well. There were 25 teams there. It's a very competitive competition / training event. Most of the teams are from New England, but there are teams as far away as Florida, Texas, California from time to time, as well as military teams. They placed 5th overall, which is excellent. We're very proud of them. And our team placed first place overall for the physical fitness event. It's a grueling course. The deputy chief, more recently than I did a long time ago, the deputy chief participated in that for many years, and we think it's the hardest event at the Squat Challenge. So it's a real feather in their cap.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Still under training. Just to note, Sergeant Maurice Martin attended a Train the Trainer de-escalation techniques class. So he's now certified to be an instructor in that topic. It's a very important and timely topic for de-escalation. So he'll be able to provide value-added training here to our officers as well as other officers. It saves us money in terms of budget, because he could do roll call training, he could do training here, where our officers are on overtime going somewhere else. So we're happy about that. And as you know, Officer Bianchi and K9 Quella are still in narcotics class with the state. And they wrap that up in the next few weeks, I believe early October. Under the Investigative Services Division, in August we had 2 stolen vehicles reported, and that's compared to 7 from the previous month, so that's good news. Both of the vehicles stolen in August were recovered and processed. Those are ongoing investigations. In August, we had 5 commercial burglaries and 2 residential burglaries. Those are under investigation. That's compared to the previous month of only 3 commercial and 0 residential burglaries, so that's an uptick for August. We made a second arrest, as the chairman indicated earlier, regarding some burglaries that were committed. The arrest was for 8 of the burglaries. This was a crew that was not only hitting North Haven, but the region. It would break into commercial car dealerships, steal keys, steal the vehicles, and then target businesses that had ATMs and safes. And they committed quite a few burglaries, so it was a nice case. Detective Capazzo was lead investigator, but collaborated with all of our detectives, as well as the regional investigative team, sharing intelligence, working together. But it was nice to see that those investigations wrapped up.
Yeah, if I could just speak on that just for a second. Yeah, congratulations to Detective Lee Capazzo and the rest of the bureau guys. I mean, they do a phenomenal job. And I know Lee's very passionate and very determined, always making an apprehension, as well as Mark Guidon's another great detective, and I think Wilcox is in there, and headed by Cliff Hill. So good job to the detective unit. I know they don't get a lot of praise because they kind of do the behind-the-scenes work, and our patrol is front and center. So just kind of want to just give like a little shout out to your guys in the bureau. Good job.
I appreciate that. It is a small knit crew, as you mentioned.
I think I got all the names. I think was it Wilcox, Guidon?
I'll add a few more for you,
Yeah,
just to help
okay.
you out. It's
Well,
hard to keep track of.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
don't work with
but,
them every day. Yeah, so Sergeant DeCoco is in there right now,
Correct.
temporarily, and Detective Harden.
Harden, right, of course, Mike.
Senior detective, but they all, and Lukaitis, Paulus Lukaitis also.
Yeah.
They work very well together. There's gonna be potentially some movement as far as personnel in there. We'll get into that in executive session, but yeah, we're very happy with the work they do. And it's an uphill battle. Not only are we taking on more crime, as every town is throughout the state and across the country, as we take on more technology and more advancements and regional efforts, every case becomes bigger and harder to accomplish. We could solve it easier, but there's more work that has to go into each one, so they do a great job. But thanks for pointing that out. Motor vehicle stops are up compared to the previous year. For example, year-to-date, by the end of August this year, there were 1,306 motor vehicle stops compared to 1,208 and 1,071 the past 2 years. Citations are also up in alignment with the increase in motor vehicle activity. Total arrests made by officers are also up year-to-date. By the end of August this year, we were at 290 custodial arrests compared to 252 the previous year and 249 the year before that. And reports of vehicle thefts are basically flat, 47 this year, 49 the previous year, but 35 the year before that. Vehicle burglaries are slightly down. Year-to-date, 166 compared to 197 the previous year. Moving on to the Benary Scholarship, we have no requests for this month. And before anything else the commission has, or moving on to executive session, which I have a few things, the deputy chief would like to talk about a program that we're looking to jump into.
Thanks, Chief. So I recently met with Ashley. She's a parent out of North Branford of a child who's special needs on the autism spectrum. She's started a program called Linked, where she provides sensory bags to agencies like police, fire, and EMS. So when you deal with someone who's special needs, especially when you're trying to de-escalate someone, it's a little different if they have special needs going on. In these bags are things like headphones, tinted goggles, tactile objects for them to play with. There's also flashcards if they're nonverbal, so our officers can point to the card, are you okay, are you hungry? That way we can kind of communicate better with people who are nonverbal. She also provides these forms that we would have online where members of the public who have children who are special needs can fill out this form. We will then get receipt of the form and we can put notes in our CAD. So if you live at 5 Main Street, when we queue a call to 5 Main Street, we'll see the note in the CAD that there's a special needs child at that home. They can upload pictures of the child and they can put notes in there. So if the child is a runaway, for example, there could be a note in there, is scared of dogs. That way at least we know if we're using a dog that night, maybe we shouldn't, or if we get very close, pull the dog away. So it seems like a great program. We're looking forward to working with her on that. New Britain Police got on board with that recently. North Branford Police are doing that as well. West Haven Fire. So she's kind of just getting this off the ground. But we met with her this week, and it seems like something that we're looking forward to doing.
Yeah, what are we, what's involved for us to get involved in this, or what do we need to do?
We just have to essentially make a small donation to cover the cost of the bags themselves. And each cruiser will have a bag inside it with these items. And this is something that at the Capitol is likely coming anyway. There's been some bills to do something similar to this anyway. So it would just put us ahead.
No, I think it's terrific.
Of potential legislation that's coming anyway. But overall, it's a great way to deal with someone who's special needs.
Absolutely.
So I don't
Any
see-
idea on the cost of these bags, or?
It's a small
It's very small.
cost
Okay.
It's not gonna
for
impact
that
us.
benefit. It's
Yeah,
a small
okay.
cost.
Perfect, no, I think it's terrific,
Yeah.
absolutely. I know you have my support, and I'm sure we have the balance of the support.
Do they have a resource where we can also, or the officers can also contact people if they have a situation and they're not sure what to do with it? Do they have
Could you say that?
people that are resources?
She doesn't necessarily do that. No, she provides a form that we'll put online where you can upload all the information about your child and their photograph,
Right.
which we'll house here at the police department. And she also provides the bag. She does also provide a checklist for families when they sign up, what to do when they have a crisis or an issue. It's not so much resources, but it's those moments can be hard for people, and you kind of can forget to do something. So she gives you a checklist in a moment of crisis, what to do. So she gives some resources to the family, and then obviously the PD has information here at the communication center.
Okay, but we don't really have anybody to reach out to that would be available on a call if it got out of control. or
Well, we could do things like 211.
Depends what the needs are
Yeah.
on the specific call, how high or low level the person is. Like the deputy said, 211 is a great resource. We have community services. It depends on the needs in the specific call.
She also she provides some training as far as dealing with people with special needs, but our officers also, through their yearly research, get training on de-escalation and dealing with people in crisis. So we get it, but the more training we can get, the better.
No, it's great. Thanks.
You have our full support.
That's all I have.
That's all I have. Okay. Any further questions, anybody? Comments, no?
I have one
Sure.
little question. Of course, to me, it might be a silly one. But when you do the motor vehicle activity report, does anybody in any town ever look at them so to measure the activity relative to the traffic? I know it's almost impossible because some cars come from out of town. But so in other words, look at the number of registered cars in a town and say, well, we made so many stops versus the number of actual cars that are registered. I don't know if that would ever be something to look at. Probably no town does it, or you can look from town to town and as an indicator. Now, of course, different towns have different kinds of people that live there and businesses, but it was just curious.
It's not something that we've ever evaluated
Yeah.
or put a metrics to.
It's just how my mind wanders. Great, thank you.
Anything else? Good? Okay. Do I have a motion for adjournment to go into executive session for discussion of personnel?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Okay, we are back now in open session after having had executive session to discuss personnel. Any further comments? Anyone? No? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, seconded?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.